As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, welcome in here to the Room to Room Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Gabe here for Mississippi Live Weather at 5. And what a beautiful start to the work week it was. Sunny skies galore, but also those cold temperatures. If you were like me and you walked your wife out to work early this morning, you had a frosty start to the day and had to get the scrapers out to clear off some of that frost on the windshield. But luckily, once that passed, we were in for quite a good day. We took the dogs on a walk this afternoon. Phenomenal forecast. Going to hear me say that a ton as we get into the 5 o'clock hour. As we take a look at those headlines here in the Room to Room Weather Center, one of the things that we're tracking is, of course, that dry forecast. That does continue into those overnight hours, along with a beautiful sunset for the time being. But those cold temperatures do return by the morning. So if this morning was too cold for you, may want to add another layer as you get into your Tuesday morning because similar conditions are expected. And as we take a look at that extended forecast, there will be a brief break from the cold, but we have to pair that with some rainfall. We'll be tracking the latest on those chances here in the Room to Room Weather Center in just a moment. But nonetheless, not too bad of a week as we get into that next 7-day time frame. The first 12, though, 45 degrees by 6, already in the 30s by 9. And as we get towards that midnight and 1 a.m. time frame, going to be sitting around freezing, and those freezing temperatures get even worse for the start of our Tuesday as 20s return to the forecast once again. Luckily, our Tuesday morning will not be as breezy as Monday, so I think that those temperatures will feel a little bit better outside than what we had today. That's one of the benefits as we get into that forecast. Let's go ahead and take a look outside in Aberdeen. Show out Monroe County, 48 degrees, dew point at 21 degrees, and a beautiful sunset. My word, you guys need to head out there and look at that sunset. I just want to keep it here for like the next 5 minutes to just really soak it in. But guys, we have not seen a sunset in quite some time. Sunday was kind of the first time we've been able to see a sunset over the past several days, and that's just the benefit of that dry air that's overhead. Will continue to be in place as we get into our Tuesday once again. Well, hey, we'll transition from Aberdeen over there towards Clarksdale. 49 degrees, still a beautiful sunset in place out there. Those North Mississippi sunsets, just unmatched. And what I'm expecting from you guys, some pictures. As we get into that 6 o'clock hour and 10 o'clock hour, going to be featuring some of those sunset pictures that you guys submit getting into the later shows. So make sure to go ahead and submit that through the Mississippi Live Weather app, and we'll get those in those shows later on tonight. Clarksdale, not the only one seeing that sunset. Also getting it out there, I believe Greenwood is actually down. I apologize for that, but 52 degrees, that is correct on the reporting station. And we're going to continue to enjoy those warmer afternoon temperatures before they return to those cold temperatures overnight. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar staying with those clear and dry conditions once again. That'll be in place as we get into any of those late night plans tonight. And if we expand things out, you can see on our surface analysis that this is the result of a dominant high pressure system, this ridging pattern that's been right overhead, still cycling in some of those northerly winds. Whenever we see a high pressure positioned in this fashion, we do get these clockwise winds that get into the forecast. And of course, on the west side of the high, you get all of this moisture, and that's what all of this Gulf moisture is getting into. That's why you see showers developing in Texas and Mexico. But whenever we're getting these northerly winds or northwesterly winds, you get this continental air, which is dry, but it's also cold. And that's why these temperatures are sitting as cold as they are, and that's why we will continue to see those cold temperatures into the start of our Tuesday. So can't escape it, but in all honesty, it's been quite a while since temperatures have been this cold, so I don't mind a little bit longer of dealing with these cold temperatures. Now, ask me by the end of the week, I think I'll have a different opinion, but as we get into futurecast, you can see high pressure still remains over the top of us here in North Mississippi, and that's giving us those drier conditions once again. As we get later into those overnight hours, you can see how that high starts to fizzle out just a bit. Not going to be as strong as what it once was, and we're watching a trough that's trying to enter into the region. You can see a slight bit of that up there towards Wichita and Oklahoma City by Tuesday morning. That's going to be our weather maker heading into our Wednesday, but for Tuesday, I have us staying dry and clear for the start of the day, and those clear conditions do continue even by those afternoon hours. 29 degrees though, That's a cold start to the day, so layers will still be essential for your Tuesday. But as we get into that afternoon time frame, 59 degrees, that's not too shabby, especially with those sunny skies. Looking like a great forecast once again to head out and about and enjoy some of these great conditions. Now, one of the things that we are talking about is, of course, the dry air that's overhead. But by the time we get towards Wednesday, rain chances do return to the forecast. That's one of the things we'll be talking about here in the Room to Room Weather Center in just 60 seconds is the latest details on those rain chances, how much we can expect, and what will be paired with it. I've heard a lot of people mention the S word. Yes, that is snow. As we get into that forecast, we'll be tracking the latest on those chances coming up here in the Room to Room Weather Center, and I think a few of our winter weather fans might be disappointed, but we'll talk latest details here in the Room to Room Weather Center in just a moment.
When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer for us. They greet us with warm smiles right when we walk in the door, and they make us feel so welcome. We love Tupelo Smiles.
Frozen pipes can cause serious damage. That's why Absolute Restoration is giving away free faucet covers to our community while supplies last. Installing them is easy. Just slide the foam sleeve over your outdoor faucet and secure it snugly. Also remember to disconnect hoses, open cabinet doors under sinks, and let faucets drip during extreme cold. Call or text to check availability, and from our family to yours, please stay warm and protected.
It's Friday night y estamos activos. Head out early. Drinks flowing till 11.
No sé qué pasó. I didn't even drink that much.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Here we are talking about a cold start to our Tuesday, whereas this morning was pretty cold in the grand scheme of things. 22 degrees New Albany and Boonville, 25 in Tupelo, 23 Grenada, 25 there towards Greenwood, and 28 to 29 degrees right along the Mississippi River. Guys, it was chilly. You needed multiple layers getting out the door, and even then it wasn't enough because it was just that cold this morning, and paired with those winds as well, it just wasn't a comfortable forecast. So as we get into our forecast for our Tuesday morning, yes, it's cold, but it's not going to be as cold as this, so there's your positive as we get into the next 24 hours. Temperatures right now sitting in the low 50s for some of us in Houston, Eupora, Tupelo, even down around Kosciuszko, but upper 40s already starting to enter the forecast, and we expect those upper 40s to quickly turn into the 30s by the time we get into those late night hours. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar still showing us those dry conditions overhead. Haven't tracked the shower all day long, won't track a shower into those late night hours, so whatever you have planned for your Monday, we're looking on the good side of things, definitely, whenever we're talking about those rain chances. Satellite imagery, not even having any clouds in the sky either. So we're going to see those clear skies once again be in the region. So if you're looking to head out and about, maybe head to the park. You still have at least an hour before that sun does set. 7 p.m., 42 degrees, 36 there by 9, 34 by 11. Of course, shouldn't be at the park by 11 p.m., but if you are, layer up. It's going to be a cold one, and freezing temperatures do return to the forecast once again. All right, Futurecast, we were talking about it a moment ago. High pressure dominating our area overnight and giving us these clear skies overhead in North Mississippi. So any of those plains we may have, like I said, going to be clear, going to be dry, maybe the occasional cirrus cloud, but that's really the extent of our sky coverage that we can expect. Overnight and into the start of our Tuesday, still seeing those dry conditions prevail. So as we head out the door Tuesday morning, winds are going to be pretty calm. So that means whatever moisture is in the air is going to remain there by the time we get into our Tuesday morning. So frosty starts, don't rule those out. So make sure to turn that car on a little bit early so that way the heater can get going and maybe knock off some of that frost and make that commute a little bit sooner whenever we're talking about your Tuesday morning. As we look at those low temperatures, we just saw them a moment ago. 29 degrees in Tupelo, 30 in Water Valley, 30 in Grenada, 32 Greenwood, Belzona, and 35 around Greenville. Guys, if we're talking about 33 to 35 degrees being our warmest temperature to start the day, you know it's a cold forecast. One that we've not seen in quite some time before this morning, and one that will stick around into this week as well. Wind chill still posing a little bit of a factor, but only going to be about 2 to 4 miles an hour. It's really not going to be that breezy, but where it is a little bit more breezy, knocking those temperatures back a degree or two, and those feels like values going to be in the upper 20s heading out the door for our Tuesday. That means, kids, once you head to the bus stop, you need to make sure to have those layers on standby. I wore a beanie for the first time in winter here in 2026. So yeah, it was that cold this morning, but definitely worthwhile to have a beanie on standby. 30 degrees by pickup, 59 there by drop-off. Clear skies all day long. That is another benefit we can look at with this forecast. Let's go ahead and track that out on our future cast. So highlighting that, primarily done by our high pressure center still overhead. So Tuesday morning still staying with those dry conditions. And as we get through the day, you can see cloud cover does try to move into the area. Now this cloud cover is actually coming off of the Gulf Coast. It's going to be a little bit of that moisture trying to wrap around this high. Now bear with me one moment while I draw this out. But basically you have all of this moisture that's starting to enter there towards Texas, and this high pressure is wrapping that around in that clockwise motion. So that's where we're getting some of those showers developing there on the east side of Texas and potentially into Louisiana as well. Some Gulf Coast showers not going to be ruled out either, but the primary thing for us would be the occasional cloud, but no rainfall going to be attached to it. So our Tuesday, again, staying on the drier side for sure. Now, a large part of that moisture out there in Texas is going to start to form our low pressure center, and that's what's going to give us maybe the occasional showers we work into our Wednesday, but still a bit of a ways out, and we are going to continue to enjoy great conditions for our Tuesday. Let's bring it back in here to North Mississippi, and as you can see, by 9 a.m., going to be breezy conditions coming out of the southwest. That's some of that moisture return, preparing for those rain chances by Wednesday, and maybe the occasional cloud coming from those southwesterly winds as well. 10:30, 11, even 12 o'clock, enjoying those clear skies once again. Sunny skies galore. Going to be sticking around in our forecast for our Tuesday, and as we make way for that afternoon forecast, a large part of that cloud cover still remaining down south, and we're continuing to enjoy some great conditions up here in North Mississippi. Let's take that through those afternoon hours, as I do know some folks are trying to get out and about for any of their afternoon plans. Shaping up to be a good one once again. So if you missed out today, don't worry. There's another opportunity heading into tomorrow. And as we get our way into those evening hours, continue to see that high pressure center remain right overhead. Now, what we're starting to get is this trough. I know that this brown line is a little bit confusing, but that is our trough axis that's moving overhead. Now, if you look at the large scale pattern, we have a frontal system that's moving into parts of Canada, Minnesota, Wisconsin, even up there towards the Dakotas. And you can see a line of those showers already starting to form. Now that's going to be moving with that trough, and that means that cold front going to be moving into Mississippi by the time we get into our Wednesday. And there is your weather maker by the time we get into that extended forecast. So enjoy the dry air while it's here, because we are tracking limited chances of rainfall by the time we get into the midweek portion of our work week. So unfortunately, dry air is not going to be here forever. High temperatures on your Tuesday, 59 degrees Oxford, 60 New Albany, 60 there towards Bruce, Houston, Grenada, Eupora, Greenwood, 59 Kosciuszko, and 58 Louisville, Macon, and Aliceville. As we keep that future cast moving into our extended forecast, you can see that dry conditions do remain overhead for our Tuesday. We're getting a mixture of two different weather patterns, and this is going to be some of that moisture down south, that southwesterly wind bringing up that moisture into North Mississippi. What this is actually doing is rebuilding that moisture in our area and preparing it for that frontal boundary pushing in later on into your Wednesday. So watch how these southerly winds kind of drive that cloud cover a little bit more north, and potentially seeing those clouds in North Mississippi, but that's not going to be our weather maker. You can definitely see that weather maker by the time we get into Wednesday, and that's going to be some light to moderate showers. Now, a lot of folks saying, where's the winter precip? We expected this to be some flurries or something. No, not with this forecast. We are going to be too warm for any flurries to form, and I do expect a large part of this to continue to be those light to moderate showers. If you want snowfall, I'll tell you exactly where to go. Oh, they're getting some in West Virginia, so maybe you needed to join meteorologist Caleb Edelblut. Well, he's back in town, but go where he went, and you'll get some snowfall up there, up around Michigan or Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. The places that usually expect snow. Down here, we expect rainfall, and that's exactly what we're going to be getting by Wednesday. So don't worry, we don't need to go get the sleds ready. I think we're staying in the clear for our Wednesday. That continues into those Wednesday morning hours. Again, just too warm for any snowfall to form. So anything that long track models were projecting, or anything that you might have read on social media, yeah, there's a reason why you don't do a 2-week-long forecast, because it can and it will change, and this is exactly what happened, and that's why we're expecting only rain showers for our Wednesday. Even by Wednesday afternoon, those remnants of moisture that are still in the forecast, those working their way out as well, and so we're staying flake-free on our Wednesday. As we look out east, though, you can see the effects of that colder air pushing into parts of North Carolina and Tennessee, some of those higher elevation areas. They're getting some snowfall in their forecast, so maybe a good time to plan a trip to the mountains and enjoy it. But I know everyone back in school, so it might be a little bit difficult. But maybe our time will come. I mean, winter is still going to winter and we still have time, but as of right now, I'm not seeing anything on that extended forecast that's hinting at any of the white stuff coming from the sky. So I think that we're going to just stick with our rainfall. And really, once that rainfall clears, we're going to be sticking with the drier forecast. Take a look at what's moving overhead. High pressure over there on the top left of your screen. That's going to bring in some breezy conditions from the north. And as you can see, going to be enjoying some of that colder air as a result, or as you will see here in just a moment. We'll track just how cold those temperatures get. High temperatures Wednesday, though, going to be limited by that moisture in the air, and we're going to talk low to mid 50s across North Mississippi. So we said too warm. Yeah, you need 32 degrees for snowfall to happen. Not getting any of that. And the fun fact about the science behind the scenes of snow, it actually doesn't even have a dendritic growth zone. So you're not even getting flakes forming high up in the atmosphere. You're just getting those ice pellets that eventually melt and then fall as rain. So that's really what we're getting in the upper atmosphere. So I don't think you want that in the forecast. I think you'd want snow, and that's not even high up in the sky. A cool little atmospheric phenomena. We actually named our cat Dendy. Not our cat, my mother-in-law's cat, Dendy, because of the dendritic growth zone. The cat was white. Makes sense, right? Rain chances, let's get back to the forecast. 30% there by Wednesday. That's going to be our highest chance of rainfall, because beyond that, a much drier pattern moves in place. And as we look at that next 3-day forecasted rainfall, we're talking maybe a few hundredths of an inch up to a tenth of an inch along the Tennessee state line. But that's the best case scenario with the system. Again, it's just light to moderate rainfall. So not going to be like what we had over the weekend where it was some pretty significant showers. But watch how these showers clear on out on our Wednesday and then make way for cold temperatures. I mean, Thursday, we're starting in the mid-20s, similar to what we had this morning, and only topping out around the upper 30s. It's sunny all day long, but that sunshine definitely not doing any damage to that cold air. Friday, temperatures get worse in the morning, but better by the afternoon. And this is definitely what we'd expect after coming off of a warm week as an extremely cold week. And we stay in the 20s all week long, all weekend long. And by the time we're starting early next week, I'm not going to be shocked at all if a few areas' actual temperatures are in the teens. So layers, yeah, they'll be needed. It wasn't just a today thing. Winter is here, going to make its presence felt. And I don't think we're getting a warm forecast anytime soon to take us out of this pattern. So folks out there that are wanting some warmer air, I apologize. I think that this is definitely going to be your winter forecast you've been waiting on. I hope that everyone's happy about that forecast. But coming up tonight at 6, what are we going to be discussing? Well, we'll be talking latest on those temperatures and just how they're trending, how they compare to our average. But we also have updates from the weekend storms that are those storm surveys. We're going to be tracking what those tornadoes were rated, how they lined up with the damage that we received here at Mississippi Live Weather, the damage report, should I say, here at Mississippi Live Weather. We'll be taking the latest look at that here in the Room to Room Weather Center, so make sure to join us here in about 40 minutes for the latest on that. Of course, make sure to download that Mississippi Live Weather app if you have not done so already. I believe that is Tammy and Donnie. Tammy and Donnie, I am here to stay. Don't you worry about that. Definitely not going anywhere here at Mississippi Live Weather. So love it here. Can't complain at all. And definitely this is home for me and my family. So I think you got us for the long run. So don't worry. You'll be seeing me more often. Every day, pretty much. But as we get a look at that forecast, we'll, of course, be talking in more detail about it coming up tonight at 6. Make sure to download that Mississippi Live Weather app today, free and available on iOS and Android. So make sure to join us at 5, 6, and 10 on those broadcasts. Speaking of, our next broadcast at 6 o'clock and then a following one at 10. Can't wait to see you guys there. Matt will be talking to you guys in the morning at 6:37 and 7:30, tracking the latest on a cold forecast. He's filling in for our meteorologist, Maggie McCauley. She will be back, I believe, by Wednesday. And then, of course, Matt joining us back on the evenings. But nonetheless, you got the whole team always watching and keeping an eye on things here in North Mississippi. Tracking cold air, though, we're going to be talking in more detail coming up at 6 on that cold air, as well as the latest on those storm surveys. We'll see you there.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.